Help support AMTV by becoming a patron, an AMTV staff member, and following us over on Twitter.
Hi there guys, it's Adam Martyn here, and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about Rewind TV. Now, I'm sure some of you already know what this is. It's a brand new TV channel that has launched with some controversies attached to it, but we'll get to that. You may also notice we recently covered their launch idents over on the ident review. There's 5 of them at the minute. There's some differences to them. There's some interesting ideas, but some controversies along the way. So if you want to learn more about that, go and check out that episode of the ident review because it focuses on just those sequences. But about the channel itself, I first learned of its existence by cordbusters.co.uk, which again, go and check them out, some great articles there. But they posted about this, saying golden era of TV returns to Sky with Rewind TV channel. So why has it been sort of received as a mixed bag in some corners? Well, let's have a read and see if we can find out. It says, a new independent television channel, Rewind TV, is launching on Sky's satellite platform this week. The channel, dedicated to retro and nostalgia, aims to bring back the golden era of television by offering a curated selection of classic shows and films from various genres and decades. Rewind TV will be available at no extra cost from May 23rd, 2024 on Sky Channel 190, but only on Sky satellite boxes such as Sky Q. So let's just talk about the channel in principle then. So as the name would suggest, it's focusing solely on old TV programming. Now, channels like this aren't necessarily anything new. We have channels that exist that show old films, old television. Talking Pictures, I think, is a great example of one that's doing that, particularly with film. But then you have other things like, say, Challenge, which focuses on not necessarily old, but repeats of old game show and quiz programs. So the concept isn't anything new, but it seems that they're getting some of the high-end stuff or high-end popular dramas and sitcoms from back in the day. The programming seems to be primarily focused from the black and white days up until the 1990s. But this is one of the big sticklers. It's saying at the minute it's only available on Sky's satellite boxes, such as Sky Q. Reason to stand is older technology, more people might have access to it. But the problem is, and it's been pointed out in the comments and it's been pointed out on different websites, not everybody has Sky. You know, in the age of different choice, a lot of people may be with Virgin or other providers and stuff like that. And if it's only available on Sky, the satellite boxes, that might be a particularly minutiae of users, even across the Sky network itself. Why they chose to launch it like this is anyone's guess, but do they have any plans to expand this in the future? It says this means the channel will not be available on Sky's newer streaming services, Sky Glass and Sky Stream at launch, and it also won't be available on Sky's Now streaming service, which I think is a major blow because I know a lot of people who use the Now TV streaming service for one reason or another, so I think to not have it launching at least on that from the off-gate is a big misstep. However, the company behind Rewind TV has stated that it plans to expand to other platforms in the future, so hopefully we may even see it come to FreeSat and Freeview at some point. And if you go on the actual Rewind TV website, which is a very interesting site because it is literally a blank white page with the Rewind TV sizzle reel, which of course is available on YouTube, on the Rewind TV YouTube channel. It's just the sizzle reel basically saying, hey look, we've got a new channel, it's launching on Sky satellite services and other formats or other services are coming soon. So it does seem like they are eventually going to expand this to like Sky Glass, Sky Stream, and indeed Freeview, FreeSat and other platforms, which, you know, a no-brainer move, really. Why on earth, in this day and age, when the TV market is already volatile for launching new channels as it is in the traditional sense, why on earth would you even consider not doing that? So they haven't put a specific date onto when that's happening. You know, Cordbusters says at some point. The Rewind site itself just says coming soon or later. We don't really know. It says TV classics are coming back. Rewind TV's programming will feature a mix of iconic series, documentaries, and cinematic masterpieces from days gone by. The channel aims to provide a refreshing alternative to today's streaming platforms by mirroring traditional broadcasting schedules. In other words, it's a linear channel without an on-demand library. Now, this is a very, very interesting choice to make because as we've seen with demographics, we've seen in statistics and stuff like that, as audiences are going on, like particularly younger audiences, they're consuming less and less scheduled television. That very traditional thing that TV had since the beginning where, you know, the day starts at X time, here's what's on at Y time, we close down at Z time. That is the old traditional way of doing things. And indeed, it is still the way traditional TV is done now. Even on the biggest broadcasters in the UK, it's schedule based. But with streaming, you know, the option to watch whatever you like, whenever you like. You're no longer back. You don't have to be sat down at 7 p.m., for example, to watch your favorite program or risk missing it. Those days are long gone by now. So traditional TV in that scheduled sense is really struggling to adapt and really keep audiences in the way that they had for decades. So to launch a new channel that is exactly in this manner may seem like a head scratcher. On one hand, I can kind of see, with it being older programming, that older audiences might be drawn to it, maybe those who watched that stuff back in the 60s onwards, And I'm not saying younger people won't check out Rewind TV as well. In fact, if I had Sky, I'd be tempted to check out some of its programming myself. I do like old TV. But I think the audience they're aiming at, or at least the demographic for this, definitely skews a lot older. And older audiences, again, statistically, it has been shown, while some of them are moving to the more free-flowing streaming model, a lot of them still prefer to watch, they still prefer to watch in that scheduled, traditional manner. So in that sense, Rewind TV might be for them. But as they get older, and if younger audiences don't also swap onto that, it's going to leave Rewind, and indeed all those channels like that, with a very limited user base. And the fact there's no on-demand library. Now, I get with a thing like this because it's using solely archive content. Rewind's not commissioning anything themselves. In a sense, they don't own I'm guessing they only own the rights to broadcast these programs on Rewind TV as it is in its traditional form. To negotiate a deal to show old programming on a on-demand library, that's a whole other kettle of fish. If you think about it, when you repeat something on TV in the traditional way, you might get one scheduled repeat or two, or you might make a deal for, hey, we can repeat this, say, 3-4 times in a year or 2 years or whatever. With streaming, where it's on demand, it's available all the time, those negotiations are vastly different, and often it can take ages for old programming, especially if it's high-profile programming, to make this come to light. We had the marvel of BritBox, which was all this classic British content, and that's gradually being sort of wound down or folded into within ITVX, which actually makes me think if some of these programs that they're offering on Rewind you could just find on ITVX or similar services, but we'll touch more on that in just a second. It says Rewind TV's lineup features a nostalgic collection of iconic TV shows and films from various genres and eras. Some of the titles set to air on the channel include The Prisoner from the late 60s. This groundbreaking British science fiction allegorical series stars Patrick McGoohan as a former secret agent who is held captive in a mysterious idyllic village. If somehow you haven't watched it until today, you'd be surprised to see how much it inspired modern shows. And yes, I haven't seen The Prisoner, but I'm very well aware of its groundbreaking impact at the time, its popularity, how it has shaped a lot of elements in more modern TV shows as well. The thing is, though, again, if you go on ITVX on the website, The Prisoner is right there. This is the 60s version. It's saying Series 1, there's 17 episodes. Is that all there was of The Prisoner? I don't know. But this is the thing. It's available already on a widely accessible platform. Now, again, you could say, yes, older viewers might not want to access ITVX, but particularly for younger viewers, if they're going to check out this stuff, this is going to be the way to do it. So already one of the big shows touted on Rewind is a bit of a blunder that, it's available elsewhere very publicly. How about this? Hammer House of Horror from 1980. Produced by the legendary British studio Hammer Films, this series consists of 13 standalone horror stories. Each episode features a different cast and storyline, ranging from supernatural thrills to psychological terror. Now, I haven't seen this series, but I have seen a great many Hammer horror films from the 50s, 60s, and early 70s. And, they're classics in British cinema. So many of them are great. Some of them are just a bit weird. But the TV show sounds great. But again, let's have a look on ITVX and see if this is just available to view. Dick Turpin from 1979 to 82, starring Richard O'Sullivan. This series follows the adventures of the infamous 18th century highwayman, Dick Turpin. The show blends historical facts with fictional escapades, creating an entertaining and romanticised portrayal of the notorious figure. Again, Dick Turpin, very classic character, as it says. Let's see what we can find on ITVX. Sorry, we couldn't find a match for that. There you go, fair enough. How about Drop the Dead Donkey from 1990 to 98, the satirical sitcom set in the offices of a fictional TV news company, Globelink News. The show is known for its sharp wit, political commentary, and humorous take on the media industry. Once more for good luck, let's see if it's on ITVX. It is not. Other notable shows and films on Rewind include The Return of the Saint, The Beiderbecke Affair, The Tony Hancock Show, The Optimist, Thriller, Bust, Wurzel Gummidge Down Under, Huckleberry Finn and Friends, and these programmes showcase the talents of beloved stars such as Dame Judi Dench, Brian Cox, Paul Nicholas, Joanna Lumley, Richard Burton, Nigel Havers, Dave Allen, and Caroline Aherne. So that's quite a lot of programming. Some of that I recognize, some of which I don't. And again, I'm sure a lot of these programs have probably, over the years, they've had DVD releases or in some cases Blu-ray as well. Some of them might be available on some streaming platforms, as we found. Some of them might not. But I think that's, if a lot of them are mainly now their source of availability, a lot of DVDs and stuff are long out of print. If a lot of these accessibility for these programs is going to be on Rewind, then that's fair enough. That's going to attract a new audience to it. I do wonder, though, again, not having an on-demand library for stuff like this is a bit of a shame. But like I said earlier, negotiating that, I'm sure, wouldn't have been an easy job. Classic factual series will also be part of Rewind TV's lineup with programs like Clive James Meets, Wicker's World, and World in Action, offering viewers a chance to reconnect with iconic presenters and journalists. Love a bit of factual TV. Glad that's featured. Rewind TV is the passion project of independent founders Oscar Buselink and Jonathan Moore. The two expressed their excitement about bringing the channel to Sky, stating, "The channel is targeted at an older demographic," there you go, "with rarely seen, critically acclaimed iconic programs, and we are confident that it will have intergenerational appeal with a fresh and fun identity. Great care has been taken to carefully craft the selection of the content, including restoration work where necessary. These programs and films have never looked so good." So I'm really glad, actually, that it seems some things are taking restoration because, a lot of these things were made on film or videotape, and these analog formats do tend to degrade over time if they're not cared for properly. Restoration, especially for things like this, can be very expensive, and I'm assuming it won't be for every program, but if restoration work has been taken on stuff that needed it, that's great, I think, and then showing that off will be fantastic as well. They acknowledge it's for an older demographic, as I thought, which is absolutely fair enough. And they're saying some of it's rarely seen. And again, if it's not available on other streaming sites, if it's long out of print on DVD and such like, then yeah, give them a new life. The thing, though, they're saying it'll have intergenerational appeal. I think the programs itself, like the actual content they're showing, does have intergenerational appeal. I think, if you got some people to watch The Prisoner, they'd still find it interesting now. But I think the issue is getting the intergeneration, particularly the younger generations, I guess including my own, to watch it. It's in that traditional format. It's exactly in the format that intergenerational appeal, those younger generations are moving away from. So unless it's like via word of mouth from older relatives, or they attract a considerate social media buzz or stuff like that, I just don't know how they're going to break out of just the sole older demographic to make this, sustainable in the long term. So that is the article in summary. And, the main question I wanted to pose in this video is Rewind TV viable? And what I mean is this really going to succeed and thrive in the long term? I know in the short term, a lot of people have been very excited. Again, a lot of these are, as quoted, rarely seen. They're not widely available. And I think to put those on telly, it's their rightful home after all. The fact that restoration work has been carried out, I find that really appreciative. I'm sure some of these programs, as it says, are never going to look so good. But for me, it's just, there's so many factors. Only launching it on Sky satellite services, not even putting it on the Sky streaming services, which they're trying to push, like Stream and Glass. The fact it's not available on competitors yet, like Virgin, for example. The fact they've launched it and it's not even even considered available on Freeview. Is it going to be available on Freely when that really takes off? The choice, there might have been several factors, I'm not in the know on this, there might have been several factors that meant they had to launch only on Sky satellite services and nothing else. Maybe Sky shoehorned them into a deal with that because, again, launching new TV channels can be costly. It's not necessarily seen as the best investment right now, particularly in traditional telly. Also, there's other factors as well. The main one for me is that the lack of an on-demand sort of library. And as I've mentioned, it could be mainly due to rights. It could be mainly due to, trying to negotiate deals for all these programs you're offering to be on demand. That is certainly going to cost, particularly with the people who currently hold the rights to them. But a lack of on-demand library, you're asking audiences to sit down and watch at a scheduled time. And yes, I know now you have digital recorders that are great at, recording programs, but it's just that extra step compared to just, say, going on an app or going on a website and clicking, yes, I want to watch that. But the thing is, I don't want Rewind to fail. I want it to succeed. I think an archive channel showing these programs, I think, deserves to succeed because we need to honor television history as it stands. I'm a big firm believer of that. I just don't know if this is going to do it. The lack of an on-demand library, the lack of availability at the current time, limited to Sky satellite boxes. There's just, and again, I don't see how they're going to get the young. I really don't. It's only going to be those people like me, like a lot of you, I'm sure, who already have a vested interest and fascination with old TV. But to get, Joe Blogg's 21-year-old who has never seen anything before, I don't know, the year 2000, to get them involved without greater accessibility, I guess, or that choice of when to watch it outside of recording it. I don't know how they're going to do it. Also, I would just want to touch on the idents. I go into this a bit more in depth in the ident review. Some people have accused these of looking a bit bland and sort of, feelingless. There's been a lot of lobbying saying that these were made using AI. At the time I'm recording this, I don't have any concrete proof or evidence to suggest that, but there are certain factors that may even, indicate that AI was used to make these. But again, if you want to see more in depth about that, go and watch the episode of the ident review on it to learn more. But that is all for this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like on it and subscribe as well. We'd love to have you aboard. And let me know down in the comments below, what do you think about Rewind TV launching? Do you really think that this new channel has a realistic chance in the year 2024 in the TV scene? Or do you think it's sort of, doomed from out of the gate and it's probably going to fall flat on its face? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. In the meantime, I've been Adam Martyn from AMTV. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you to our patrons for helping to support the show, and a special thank you to Macra, Ethan Carberry-Holt, Bruce Danton, Globe of Reviews, Derek Chambers, Shaun Knock, Daud Khan, Liam De-Maine, Trev Hughes, Ajmac 200017, Dec KP20, Simon Harrisson, Evan Hart 41, Jen, Ted Elliott, Tim Ripley, Mr. Eurovision 1986, our AMTV staff members.